reloading there, and then same as last time, I will just be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Let the games begin.
Enemy contact.
This is my will.
You all look like you needed some healing.
Help me.
Okay.
Get into position.
At some point there, might have wanted to reload. Typically, when things are going a little bit slow, where there's not a lot going on, so you'd call this like a lull in the fight, where you just nobody's low. No, you don't need to be immediately shooting. In fact, there are times like where we couldn't even see the enemy team. That's where we just want to be reloading. That way, we actually have ammo for if we do need it. Like somebody does get low, and then now we're only at 2 bullets, right? So during that fight, maybe there could have been a couple opportunities to reload earlier, but that's not a major thing. Okay. Shift here, I don't think ends up doing a lot. I think last time we went over BAP, right? Yeah, so I think we probably would have gone over shift usage last time. We discussed, okay, there's 3 main usages, right? Self-healing, group healing, and then also using it to get some extra burst healing. So that means here, just like if we look at top right, nobody really needs healing, so just watching kind of health bars of teammates and whatnot to see that we don't really need it there.
That was just me bad aim.
It's unfortunate.
Over here.
Okay, once again, maybe notice a little bit of like a lull in time here where nothing's really happening, so this could be an opportunity to reload any point during this time, and then that way we're not, you know, half or below on everything for when our Urus is critical.
Allow me to manage damage.
Alright. Smooth first fight.
Stop coming after me. Let's get the payload moving. Payload's moving.
Make sure. Oh wait, so Arissa's coming. Are you
Yeah,
thinking
Arissa went
that
to the payload.
Okay, she is just not standing on it.
It doesn't stay like this forever.
Yeah. So in this situation, wait, I'm gonna rewatch that for when Arissa like came
This
back.
one was
She,
kind of
like,
hard because our team was split up because half of us were sitting on the
Yep.
payload and the other half were pushing way up.
Yeah. Here, notice how you push forwards. Like you see Arissa kind of walking backwards, but then we do push forwards as well. Note that it is probably your responsibility here to stay on cart over Arissa. Arissa's the main tank, therefore she, in most cases, is going to be positioned at the front of the team. So right now, Arissa's not doing her job running back to cart, and in fact, she does not need to run back to cart. And you probably want to be sitting on cart because, like, out of you and Moira, you have more ranged healing capabilities, where she does not really. And then you want the DPS and the tanks up there creating space, getting damage in there. So then, additionally, you only really ever need. It's not really necessarily your fault here because Arissa is the one who comes back. But you only ever really need 1 person on cart, which we can elaborate on if we need to. But you only ever need 1 person on cart unless you're like about to cap and you don't want them to touch in time. But here we end up kind of leaving really early when maybe we could have just sat on cart and then let Arissa just do her thing and then go forwards, because we're not really even necessarily needed up front at the moment. Like, it's not a necessity, and that just leaves Arissa to fiddle around back there, not even stand on cart for 5 seconds, and then yeah, just probably be efficient if they were a little bit far up, which is not something you have direct control over unless you communicated it.
Well, you can't hear the voice chat, but I did tell them to fall back, and they did.
Enemy sniper. Regen burst activated.
Okay, using your ult sometime around now would probably be a good idea. Alright, so last time did we talk about the concept of ulting first in fights? Yeah, so that same concept would come over here. So just remembering that ults that are used first generally get more value than ults that are used second. So notice here how they come in, right? They're engaging first here. They come in, they use Flux, they use Nano. We have one, two, three, four ultimates, and like in fact here, we probably have a little bit of an ult advantage this fight, right? We have more ults, we have them like ready before they do. And then we let them come in and they ult first. So then that means that Sigma comes in, Sigma kills you. Now you don't get to use your ultimate. You're at a disadvantage. Reaper kills, the our Widowmaker, right? So we're already at a disadvantage here. Now this is a decently good lamp timing, but unfortunately we're killed in the air. I might recommend playing nearer to cover, because if you're playing nearer to cover, then that means that you might be able to get away from the Sigma Flux. As in case you weren't aware, Sigma Flux is line of sight based. So that means from the inner ring. So if you look at Sigma Flux here, the inner ring, which is this thingamabob, right? If you put that out of your line of sight, even if I'm standing in this, I don't get pulled up, right? Doesn't do anything. So therefore, if we were using cover, that might help us. Additionally, maybe like we could, I don't know, if we were around a corner. No, he could probably still see us even if we're close to the wall there. But yep, maybe could avoid it. Also, lamp usage, maybe closer to the corner here, make it harder for them to hit. Believe that's probably something we talked about last time as well, right? Using cover with lamp in the same way that you use cover yourself. Okay, good job being aware of their Widowmaker and going grabbing cover. Okay. Consider throwing lamp there in the situation that possibly could have kept him up. Or it would, it's more so the reaction time and just noticing it sooner. Okay, once again, using your ultimate here, making sure we're getting value, throwing it in there, getting value out of it. There you go, a little bit delayed because we're using it after they've already used 2 ultimates and after we've already used 2 ultimates, right? So it's just coming a little bit later in the fight. So that's good placement of it, very good placement of it.
Get in here. Regen burst.
This thing has another ult already, dang.
Yeah.
And make sure that when you are being fluxed up, that you're not only thinking about your own survivability, but also that of your teammates around you. So, for example, here, Junkrat, right? If we're looking over to our side and seeing, oh snap, Junkrat needs healing, right? Then we could heal him midair and then keep him alive, right? And then that keeps us up a player.
My barrier is destroyed.
That was not a smart idea for him to use that ultimate. Right. Have we talked about movement at all in terms of AD strafing?
It's a problem I know I have
Yeah.
that I'm trying to work on. It's just hard when the fights get tough because I'm so focused on everything else that it's just kind of a habit that I start
Yeah.
WS strafing. I know it's bad because I'm
Mhm.
essentially just standing still.
Yeah, exactly. So that you pretty much nailed it right on the head, right? We're just WSing. But yeah, like if it's more difficult to be thinking of that in the middle of a competitive match when there's a lot to think about. It might be handy to work on this, for example, if you're like in a triad free for all where there's lower stakes and it's more focused on mechanics, which movement is a kind of subcategory underneath mechanics because it's your mechanics of movement. So that might be my recommendation. Triad free for all in general is a very excellent place to warm up before playing, warming up your mechanics as well as practicing at them, as it's a environment where there's no objectives, no teammates to worry about. It's just you and shooting, and then also how you're left click, or sorry, not left click, AD strafing rather than WS strafing, that sort of thing. So that might be a recommendation. And then besides that, it's just more of the application process that we have been discussing, right? Just confirming. We did go over last time the application process of putting things into action.
Think so.
Think so? Yeah, I see that I wrote it in the notes. Would you, because of the think so, would you like a review on the
Yeah,
application process?
probably.
Yeah, sure. So, the application process, how you put these things into action, because if I could tell you all these things and you're only going to go, up 200 SR if you, and it's, might be very slow because you got all the head knowledge, but then it's not translating into action super great. So just think of it like this: if you're not so, like, this is a very, very important thing. Of all the things I say, think of this one of the most heavy parts of what I'm coaching you on, because if you just listen and do not put into action, then this session is largely wasted, right? So this stuff is important. You put your thing, your what you're working on into action, into practice, by making sure that while you're playing, you're actively focusing on it. That means that you're not going to autopilot, you're not going to just play to play, and contrary to popular belief, you're not going to purely play to win, as that just leads to stagnation, whereas what you want to do is play to improve, and then that leads to actually winning. So what that actually looks like within your gameplay is you are going to select something. Let's say 80 strafing, even though that's usually I'd recommend something. I'll clarify in a second here, but let's just say 80 strafing, right? And while you are playing, you're going to make sure that that your brain is going like this. So your brain is going 80 strafe, 80, 80, 80, 80, movement, 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 right? We're giving yourself a constant reminder to think about how you're moving, even as the game is going on. That means that when you're doing that, you're not going to accidentally WS if you're thinking AD constantly. Hopefully, your brain works like that. And then when you do that for a long enough period of time, that forms it as a habit. Once it forms as a habit, then it's not. It just comes naturally. It's not something you need to think about constantly. Then you move on to something else to work on. Also, don't try to do everything all at once. And focusing purely on 80 strafing, two things. One is probably like a very tiny thing to focus on, as well as maybe not a major thing to work on. There's probably bigger things. So I'd recommend a category to work on. And then if that a category is too big, 1 to 3 things within a category, and then I will let you know at the end of the session in our main points what the most important things for you to work on are going to be. Does that all make sense? Does that help as the reminder?
Yeah.
All
Yeah, I
right.
remember it now.
Good, good. So very, very,
Felt good
very
when I
nearly
woke up.
died.
Thanks.
All right. I like the positioning here. This is good. We're still close, but we're
And here
taking
I
the high
did call
ground.
out the Reaper was flanking in voice chat.
Regen up. Get in here.
Yep, that I would say that is an acceptable lamp. Junkrat was critical. He was purpled, and for some reason was not backing up behind cover. So that was very much acceptable. Because that does 100%. I think we probably would talk about the when you use Lamprin is when somebody's in danger, right? Critical can add to that. Being low can add to that, but then he definitely was in danger in that situation. Uh-oh.
Got you good as new. Regen burst activated.
I like that we're taking the high ground. Not sure if that's specifically off of what we were talking about last time or not, but I definitely do like that you're taking it frequently here.
Well, yeah, that's what I did after that
Mm.
session. Is I played
Mhm.
for good 2 days just focusing on positioning.
Nice. All right. So that already looking better in this game. So I would note that improvement. Right, here Reaper teleports up to us, which you do got to be careful of. It might be like so. As soon as we see his TP, I would probably look to immediately drop back to my team. As walking further to the right here almost guarantees that we're forced to duel him unless you're trying to hide, but he already knows you're here. That's probably why he's TPing up there, right? Is because he's trying to come to duel you, right? I would probably make that assumption is that he knows that you're here, probably. So going to the right is basically ensuring that he fights us. And in a 1v1 against a Reaper, who is the advantage? You versus Reaper.
Reaper.
Reaper. So that's a principle. Don't take duels that you know you're at a disadvantage in. Take duels where you're even or above, right? So if it's a 1v1 against another BAP and everything is the exact same, go for it. If you have advantages or advantages or disadvantages would be things like, okay, who has more health, who has more abilities, right? Who, is it a 2v1? That's an advantage. Is one of you have an ultimate, right? Do you have the jump on the other person? So who does more damage, right? That sort of thing. Does somebody do healing? Does somebody have higher movement? Like, there's a bunch of different things that go into it. Reaper very much so has an advantage just in a flat up 1v1 against a BAP. Now, does that mean you never take a duel? No, because he might be 1 HP. Go ahead and take the duel, right? It might be you and you and your Mercy. I don't know. You and your Reaper, right? If it's you and your no, you don't have a Reaper. Never mind. I was looking at the wrong team. It might be you and your Junkrat, right? If it's you and Junkrat, then a 2v1 is now your advantage, right? So then here, just don't take it. No reason to. And that's all split second decision, right? I took a split second decision and broke it down to a whole minute of explanation, but it's still important to look to work on those split second decisions and know that information so that we can hopefully in the future change those split second decisions, because I guarantee this same exact situation is probably going to come up more than just this once, where you'll get into duels where at a disadvantage and you want to know what to do in that situation. Okay, so we do back up, and then we run through the team, and we just barely make it. We're forced to waste our to clarify here, it is not a bad decision that you use lamp. It is a good decision that you use lamp, but it is not preferable still, because if we weren't in a bad situation, we never would have needed to use it, right? And then we have our ability. So, good lamp usage for the bad situation we put ourselves in, right?
I need healing.
That sort of thing is fine. We're just jumping up, pressuring them out. We were able to drop back to our team super easily. Consider popping your ultimate here. Once again, remember, ults that are used first generally get more value than ults that are used second. In fights, you typically want to use your ultimate at the start of the fight before they do. Mid-fight is acceptable. And it can be good. It just depends a little bit on the situation. Most of the time, it's just acceptable. And then late fight is situational, and then in between fights is very, very rare. So far, we've kind of looking like we're holding on to ults. Don't hold on to ults, because ults that are used don't do anything, right? We're not going to get any value out of that. And then now here you see the problem previously, where we were forced to use lamp, and then now we don't have lamp, right? Which is an issue.
Well, and I find that lamp doesn't work too well against Reaper ults usually, because it does so much damage it just destroys it.
Yeah. You're right. It's not the most fantastic combo, but it does still give you an extra extra second or two to get away from it. Like it really, it's still better than nothing, because that extra second gives your team more time to escape, to get out of his range, to stun him, to shoot at him and kill him. So even just an extra second of immortality can very much be helpful in that situation. Even though, yes, you are correct that he can destroy it very easily, so he can still get value through it, but it's still much better than no lamp, right? Okay, so now that is in total, I think like 2 fights or so that we haven't used our ultimate in.
You're fully healed.
This will restore you.
You all look like you needed some healing.
Enemy contact.
Okay. Since the fight has now begun, right? The fight begins primarily, usually, the fight begins when teams are on top of each other, when they're very close to each other. So, pretty much, I would say that the fight you could initiate the fight right here by using your ultimate because you see these guys are kind of out in the open. If you right around this time, right, give or take, or sorry, I'd say more so give, right? You could give it an extra within the next like 5 seconds using your ultimate. But if we ult like right here on this corner, we can probably shred all of their team because they don't really have a ton of cover to work with, right? Typically, your ultimate is fantastic when they don't have any cover because what does cover do to your ultimate?
It means it makes it useless because they can just hide and I can't hit them.
Yeah, cover is essentially the counter to your ultimate that every single character in the game has access to. So we want to use it when they do not have cover, and that would be something like here. If we place it right here, then just kind of look at this angle. Where are they going to go where they have cover? Well, they'd have to be like all the way behind all this stuff over here, right? Behind cart, behind this. So you'd be able to have a lot of time to shred them down, right? So this would be perfect timing to be using your ultimate. Let's see if we do. Hopefully we do. Notice right there, how we didn't get sucked up. That's because we got around the corner, though I would say it's slightly delayed in walking behind. So here we run around the corner right at the last second. Okay, though we do end up turning away from our team. The corner here, all you need to do to get around the corner is walk to the right. So that means we maintain visibility in our team. Possibly could be giving immortality to Moira or to Orisa here, who's 1 HP. So making sure we're keeping visibility on our team and whatnot. Um, Fantastic immortality that saves timing, to clarify. That saves McCree. That Zar, your Orisa is also very low. Though further to the left would probably be better, right? Because if we place it here, then shield breaks, Sigma can shoot it, Kree can shoot it, Orisa can shoot it right here. Okay, well now it just covers a lot of the same stuff except for now maybe like Sigma's the only character and then he's gonna probably be around that corner in a second, right? So just giving it cover.
Team up for special attack.
Fire at will.
Cease your resistance.
Let them up.
Okay, using it very late in the fight, and then also notice that something else has happened to where now this makes this ultimate very much completely useless. Do you maybe notice what just happened that made this ultimate useless?
There's like nowhere to hit them. They're all behind. They can move behind cover once the grab's
Mm,
gone.
yeah, I would say that's maybe part of it. They have a lot more cover. The placement isn't fantastic because they have a lot of cover to use. Something
They
probably even
also
more important than that.
they also use the drum, so it essentially equalizes it
Mm,
for the bongo.
yeah. I would say that this gets into. I guess let me direct you a little bit more because I'm trying to
McCree
get at
too,
something in
when you find
specific.
him.
Yeah. Something is happening in kill feed.
Oh, like half my team's dead.
Yeah, there you go. Right, and that's something that not to uh criticize or anything. Or sorry, I am criticizing it, but not to make you feel bad. But that's something you didn't notice even when we're in this like in the review session, let alone right in the game, right, where it's even more important when you're in the game. So last time do you recall what we talked about when it comes to how to tell whether or not you've won or lost the fight?
It based on like how many people are left in the
Hmm.
fight, right?
Yeah, exactly. Do you recall any of the more specific numbers when it came to that?
I know it can be like 3v3s and stuff. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So it's 1 to 2. So if you're up or down, 1 to 2 people, that is an advantage or a disadvantage, right? You can play more aggressive or more passive accordingly. When you are up or down, 2 to 3 people, then that is a won or lost fight respectively. in a won or lost fight, you do not use ultimates, right? Because in a won fight, then it's just overkill, right? You already won, so why use it when you can save it for the next one? In a lost fight, then it just is not going to change the fact that you lost, right? It's just too far gone at that point. So therefore, don't want to use ults. Also, in a lost fight, you get out if you can. If you can't, you let them kill you. So here in this situation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 1, 2, 3. And this is information that we can see at anywhere, anytime, any point of the game, because it's just there on our screen in kill feed, right? It's just showing it straight for us. We see we're down 3 people. That's where our brain should go. No ults, nope. All done. The fight lost, right? And then that means that we get to save it for the next fight. Now, if we had used our ultimate earlier in the fight before it was lost, then that might actually mean that this fight would be winnable because we'd actually get an advantage and we could end up winning it before they get a chance to kill us all. Right? So does that all make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Regen up.
So then you see, you can see very clearly, ult did do very much, right?
Fully healed.
Okay. Not sure if this was something that we discussed last time at all either, but I will note another thing that you're doing really good at is I like the frequency in which we're going for damage. That is very good. I like that we're basically looking to shoot every time we're not doing healing, though I would note that sometimes we're not noticing when teammates are in danger, when they're low, when they're and whatnot. So good. I'm not sure where you were on that last time. Good. Yes, really good that you're doing a lot of damage in between healing. Though do make sure that you're still being aware and you're paying attention to teammates who need healing, because healing always comes as the priority.
Barrier activated.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Okay, so here, audio awareness saves your Junkrat, right? Reaper, we can hear him clunking around up above us. We can hear him drop. We can hear him shooting. So if we're listening, then that means that we can probably save our Junkrat through either healing or even probably more so immortality field usage, right? And then that keeps our Junkrat alive, keeps him in the fight. Means that we're not at a disadvantage, which is what your immortality is for. And then last time, just to check, did we talk about like sound settings at all?
Yeah, we did. I
Yep.
messed around with those. Put sound effects on the highest priority.
Yeah, so it's just make sure that you are able to hear and pay attention to your hearing.
Helden sterben nicht.
Regen burst activated. It's
Okay. Immortality, right? Team's definitely in danger when they're in the middle of high nooning your whole team, right? Especially when you see that when you notice that like he's not getting killed. Like if McCree immediately died, then it's no longer an issue, right? If everyone looked at him and he shot at him and he died immediately, probably wouldn't need immortality. But no one shoots at him, right? And he gets off a big charge, so throwing immortality can keep your team alive here. Additionally, we're a little bit out in the open, so I think we get yeah, I'd say just make sure playing slightly closer to cover. But yeah, main thing is immortality usage here, because that could end up saving literally 3 of your teammates there, right?
Get in here.
So just re-emphasizing, Amor. It's basically your second ultimate. And I think if I recall last time, just looking over our notes, yeah, so number 1 was positioning, which you worked on. The positioning is looking much better this time around. Ability usage, ultimate usage, survivability awareness. I would probably so far maintain that ability usage and ultimate usage seem to be very big deals this time, right? Just because they're really incredibly powerful abilities that get us so much value, and we're not really utilizing either to the a ton. We're not really getting a lot of value out of them, and in a lot of cases we're missing opportunities.
Payload stopped. Not exactly.
60 seconds remaining. Stop right there.
Schutzengel ist da.
This
An
is my
enemy's
will.
being revived.
Surrender to my will.
Let them up.
Okay. Taking a look at the fight. Right. What do you notice?
No, hang on. Sorry, I'm back.
Sure. Just checking. Did you hear what I said, or were you busy
No,
for a second?
I need to go back. My friend was messaging me, and I had to tell him I
Oh,
was busy.
yeah, all good. So right here, we use our ultimate. Right around there.
Let them up.
Okay. Oh, what do you notice is going on the fight here?
A bunch of my team's getting pushed by that nano reaper.
Yeah. I would say that currently this fight probably is I would say at a drastic disadvantage, and then maybe not necessarily lost. And then also do note as well that when you ult, you wanna, in a lot of cases, in most cases with your ultimate, not all, in most cases you want to actually have a bunch of teammates to be able to shoot into your ultimate, so that you can get as many people shooting through and getting damage through and getting damage amped. Here we ult and it's just us. We're the only person who can do it. And the only time you ever want to use a solo damage amp is if you see an opportunity to get a couple kills, right? Here, maybe we get Ana, and then that's about it from there, right? Are we going to be able to kill anybody else around the shields? And then therefore, does it become worth it to use an ultimate to get one kill, right? Is where you want to be thinking with that. Additionally, we were kind of at a little bit more of a disadvantage, at least for the moment. Our team's regrouping a little bit, but we're kind of ulting, and we're not. I would say for that couple of seconds, we probably don't want to be ulting, and then maybe once our team groups up, then we can ult again. Okay, good immortality, that's good. Okay, get some damage in, but now, once our team is all grouped up, right, wouldn't this have been much better ultimate, you know, if we used it probably 7 seconds from when we used it,
How about a little extra
10 seconds from when we used it.
Fire at will.
Helden sterben nicht.
Okay, watching the reload. So here, for example, is a real important one, where we're jumping up the high ground and take a look at our ammo real quick. Right, 1 and 6. So not gonna be doing too hot if we get into a duel with Reaper, or if a teammate gets critical here. So make sure we're reloading. Oh, immortality, for your soldier, for yourself. Yep.
You all look like you needed some healing.
I am on fire. Everyone follow me.
Good job, team. Let's keep it going.
Enemy visually confirmed.
Get in here.
The payload is approaching its destination.
It's you or me, brother.
Okay, so here, if we're maybe that one's harder, definitely harder, but possibly could save more there if we're paying attention with our ears and watching for the
Get in here.
ball. We also immortality when we're not necessarily in danger any longer, right? Like Moira's already dead, and then you can like look at health bars and kind of like, you know, is a ball just shooting at your Orisa who's gold and full HP really danger, right? So therefore, we could have used lamp slightly earlier and gotten a lot of value out of it, and then now the lamp doesn't really get any value out of it.
It's you or me, brother.
Uh-oh. audio awareness once again coming into play because we
Well,
don't hear
I
him.
did hear that one. It was just
Oh,
really fast.
mm,
That might have been more of a reaction time.
yeah, okay. So then, yeah, then that's the thing, right? Reaction time, which is hearing him sooner, reacting sooner, which will come with practice and time.
Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
Thanks.
5, 4.
As well as noting, I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying at this point, but noting as well that knowing it's coming, predicting is one of the best forms of working on reaction time because you can react much faster if you know high noon is coming before it happens than if you're just reacting without having any clue. But that gets into very advanced territory, which we will not cover, so that's why I said I don't know why I brought it up.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Enemy contact. Regen burst.
Watch, because I've noticed a couple times that we've been shooting to Sigma's grasp. Just be careful of that. Not sure if you're aware of it, but when you shoot
Yeah, I
into,
know how it works. They have to use
yeah,
in fields.
exactly, right. So then, therefore, we want to make sure we're not shooting into it, so we're not giving him health. So yeah, just watch that. Nice kill.
Was you or me, brother?
For your safety, please move behind the barrier.
Barrier is out of existence. Tirez pour guérir. Regen up. Heal up here.
That is a unfortunate sleep.
Fully. Immortality field destroyed.
Okay, good immortality there. Alright. So far, this defense is looking pretty solid. We got a good immor usage. We've been keeping and paying attention to our teammates' health bars and danger levels, keeping tabs on them.
Amplification matrix ready.
Alright, let's see how we use our ults here.
Let them out.
Alright, so rewatch that for half a second. Right? So notice that when we use our ultimate, I guess right here, kind of on this, if we're pausing it for a second, do you maybe see a little bit of an issue with our ultimate here?
It's really easy for them to just drop behind cover.
Yeah, a lot of cover the thing you use. Additionally, there's only 2 people, right? I don't even know who's that little health bar behind Soldier, but there's only 2 people. Pretty far away. They have easy cover. Sigma's in the middle of grasping, right? So that's an additional thing as well. So just I think that this is around the timing in which I think that it's good that you're using it early fight. This is the timing is in a good general area, but this specific instance, right, is not good. Maybe we could identify a better instance within the next couple of seconds here, right?
It would have been better to wait for them to push up onto the point and
Yeah.
commit that push.
Alright, so now, like, alternatively, it doesn't, and then if you don't get like any fantastic, like, there's situations that you can hold on to your ultimate, right? I don't want people to think that using your ultimate, sorry, that holding on to your ultimate is a bad thing in any circumstances. I would say especially when you get into team play, you hold on to it more often, but there are instances where you can hold on to it. So, like, for example, if you just never see an opportunity use it, right? You're looking for an opportunity the whole fight, and you just never were handed one. And then also you can sometimes force an opportunity, right? You can make an opportunity happen if you know how to do it. But if you just have nothing, zip, nada, then sometimes it just means that you gotta have to hold on to it, right? Here I didn't maybe see any fantastic timings for your ultimate, right? And then in that case, you might be able to just rely off of the 3 other ultimates that you used in that situation. Though I do still like they were looking to use it early. Okay, I like not. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I do like that you're getting closer here, because when we talked about higher ground usage, right, it's just like when it's you as Baptiste also are a very close ranged character, and there the high ground is a little far away for your team. So I do like that even though it's a high ground, we're dropping to get closer, which is probably the priority.
Well, and that was another thing I had someone help me with, because after
Yeah.
the last one, I was essentially glued to high ground the whole time, and I had someone else watch me play, and they were like, "High ground's good unless your team is on the low ground far away from you."
Yes, yes, yes. So that's definitely something I would agree with, and sometimes those things get lost in the translation. But yeah, like that, 100% Baptiste is a close ranged character. So he can do a little bit of like a like close to mid ranged high ground. Like if your team is like right below you here, then that would probably wouldn't be an issue at all, right? But if they're like this, I would say from here to there, that's a long range, and Baptiste doesn't really do long range too well whatsoever. He can't. His shift is 10 meters, which is not long range. His immortality and his healing are both going to be the. It's going to be harder to land because they're both projectiles, and projectiles by nature are more difficult to land at distances. And then additionally, they're going to be delayed in reaching there because they have projectile speed and travel time, which means that they could be dead by the time your stuff even gets there. And then additionally, your team's not going to be able to use your ultimate as well if you're way away from them. There's just a lot of different reasons why you want to be with your team. So yes, high grounds if it's actually relevant, if it's near the fight, if you're near your team, but not if it's this far away from them. Though do notice while your I don't know if you mentioned that last time, but your range on your shift here, because it is a 10-meter range. So Rissa here, you can actually see the little furrow of it. It goes out, and Rissa's right outside of that range. So she's at like 11 or 12 meters, which just means that we're targeting her, but she doesn't actually get it. So she's just starting to get used to that range and watching for it. That might have even we might have just we might have been thinking about it, just not estimating it correctly there.
Fire at will.
Get in here.
Yeah, good immortality. Little bit out in the open, right? Look at our current positioning, right? Left side, right side. Make sure we're using something. That can help negate a lot of damage, keep us alive here.
Not yet.
Regen burst activated.
Did we talk about crosshair placement last time?
What do you mean by that? We talked about like sensitivity and stuff.
Yeah, alright, well then let's talk about crosshair placement. So we will go over kind of 2 different things when it comes to shooting here. So firstly, let's discuss crosshair placement. So
No dying
I
in
assume
my
from that reaction, that you're not familiar with the term. Are you familiar with the term at all?
No, I've never really heard
No
it.
Yeah,
wasting
all good. So crosshair placement is essentially placing your crosshair in the best place possible as to hit the easiest shots, to make shots just easy on yourself, and to get better shots. Now, this is going to differ between your left click and your right click because they're very different in nature. With your right click, I'm not sure if we talked about that last time, but you want to be aiming at people's feet, your teammates' feet, because if you if you aim up here, right, and you miss, then it goes all the way over there. But if you aim at their feet and you miss, then it hits there and you get splash damage, right? But then you still get direct if you do hit them. right? So that's why you want to aim at their feet when you are using your right clicks, right? Not the ground, right? Because you get more healing when you do directs, but feet, and then that way if it misses, you still get healing, right? Now, when you are going to shoot at enemies, it is a whole different story. You no longer want to aim at their feet or their bodies. You want to make sure you want to. The first big major staple of crosshair placement is making sure you're aiming at their head, keeping your crosshair head level, because when we hit headshots, you do basically 2 times the damage as a body shot, right? It's a very massive difference in damage. So to get that damage more frequently and much easier, we want to aim at head level and just keep it here. That means that if we're walking around and just shooting the shields, shooting into a corridor, if we're aiming at body level, we just are going to naturally hit body shots. But if we aim at head level, then all those same shots we just took just naturally hit head level now, right? Because we're aiming there. So that's the first major step. And then there's also aiming where you know people are going to be, or pre-aiming. So bot is top left, so we aim at head level on top left, so that when the bot comes around the corner, very easy shots, we're already aiming there. Same thing here. Instead of coming out and doing like a slow turn to the left, we want to do come out already looking to the left because we know they're there. Already aiming at head level, already looking to the left. Very easy shots to land.
Think you're going to make
Okay,
it.
these guys, they're on a slope, so the same way we would look down on a Torb or up on a tank, we're going to look down on these guys. So we're going to turn this corner and, right, already aiming directly at their head, makes shots much, much easier, and gets you extra damage. Does that make sense? Any questions on that?
You or me, sister.
All right. So then next from there is also just make sure that I'm noticing that with our damage, there's a lot of I think I'm gonna leave one. There's definitely more advanced we can get into, but I'll just say there's a lot of kind of spammy damage that ends up kind of going into nothing, right? So we'll just kind of we'll come into a fight, we'll go, okay, it's damage time, and then we'll just kind of hold down our shots, and then a lot of our shots will just kind of go into walls, or maybe they just go into really nothing. They're not even close to any enemies, right? So you want to make sure that when you're not aiming directly at an enemy that you just stop shooting. You don't have to reload. You can reload. That might be a good time to reload. But just stop shooting, and that way you preserve your ammo for when there are people to shoot at, right? Because if we were, for example, if we were just healing and going heal, 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 when there's nobody here, and then now we only have 4 shots and you have 3 people critical, right? So rather than holding down our left click, we'll kind of come into a fight and we'll go, okay, there's a bot. I'm going to shoot at him, and then we'll do this, and then we'll go like this and this and this, and then now we see another person, right? So we'll just waste a bunch of shots in the meanwhile that you don't want to end up wasting. So I probably would recommend against that. Just stop shooting when there's nothing there. All right, then we can hop back in.
Now entering King's Row, ready for battle.
Okay, so let's see. Can we see it here a little bit? All right. So notice, for example, how we're aiming at her body, right, with our left click, and I'm notice a fair bit of that, right? So just you can see where our crosshair is currently placed.
I'm keeping.
Firstly, getting a little bit aggressive here. We're pushing very onto the open, and as Baptiste, that your left click doesn't have like that short of a distance, right? It's your medium range with your left click, so you can shoot the Orisa from back over here behind cover and be perfectly fine. So you don't actually need to run in on top of the Orisa here. Because this puts us out in the open, puts us in a lot more danger. And then we also don't seem to notice the Reinhardt when he charges at us, so listening and keeping our ears open once again.
Honest. You all let them out.
Okay, now that is much better timing. I like this one, right? We're using it closer to the, I think this is like a long extended fight, but this is kind of the second fight within this extended fight, right? And we're using it at the beginning of that second fight. There are multiple people in the line of sight. They do not have a lot of cover to use because they're in the middle of this choke point that they're pushing through, and you do have a lot of teammates behind you. So this one is good. This one is using the right timing, right spot.
Tactical visor activated. Hold position. We've got this. The mission's all that matters.
All right, and then with that, we got like 4 or 3 kills with it. I think that one we throw after he's already dead.
Get in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was reaction timing.
Tracer here.
This will heal.
I think it's because my first instinct is always shoot a healing grenade instead of throw the immortality lamp.
Yeah. Definitely want to be watching those danger levels and making it the instinct to, for danger, throw in more, right? Over healing.
No
So,
dying on my watch.
review, wrap up, and whatnot. So, ability usage, lamp, so very important, right? Gets you so much value. It's basically an ultimate. So make sure putting effort into it. Maybe use it slightly more frequently. We kind of hold on to it a little bit. Not, we don't hold on to it the whole game, but we do hold on to a little bit. We're not using it as often as we could. Make sure we're looking for situations to use it, right? When people are in danger, use cover with it, right? So that it's around the corner, not going to down immediately. Probably say the biggest thing with this is watch for situations to use it, right? Watch danger levels of teammates and whatnot. Last time, just to confirm, we talked about the difference between someone being in danger and someone being low, right?
Yes, we did.
All right. So good. Shift 10-meter radius. Watch that radius. Use it when that one was not nearly as much needing to work, and it's also a less powerful ability. But just make sure teammates are either low, or they need burst healing, or they you have a bunch of teammates who need healing, or you need personal healing. Most of the time, that was really good. Overall, probably say that this category goes to a low end of a medium-high priority for you to work on. Your ultimate usage, make sure that we're using it earlier in fights, right? Also use first, generally get more value than also use second. Don't hold on to it, because ults that aren't used don't do nothing, same as abilities. Make sure that when we are using it, in a lot of cases we're going to want to have teammates with it, not all. If you're using it for yourself, make sure that there's actually people you can kill. If you're using it for yourself to heal your team, make sure that it's a situation that really needs it, right? Like maybe if you don't have immortality and you need a lot of burst healing, right? Or something of the sort. Besides that, make sure the enemy doesn't have easy access to cover and they're out in the open, because that's when it's actually going to do stuff. Overall, that probably went to right around the same as ability usage, just a lower end of a medium-high priority. Mechanics, aim at head level, crosshair placement, pre-aim, don't randomly go pew pew shoot you at nothing, stop pressing the button. Besides that, prioritize healing over damage. Just make sure we're kind of watching for people being low and critical, watching the health bars and whatnot. Reload habits, right? Make sure we're reloading just anytime there's nothing going on, right? Anytime there's a lull in the fight. That way we have ammo to work with for when things actually do happen. Overall, medium priority for you to work on. Overall, pretty good, but or I guess medium. So it's pretty good, pretty bad. Then moving on, positioning much better than last time. Positioning, just make sure that you're continuing to think about when to and not to take high grounds and whatnot. That was really good. Big one with positioning is continue to make sure you're thinking about cover, right? Use cover. That one's probably the biggest thing here in positioning that we weren't really paying as much attention to. But besides that, you pretty much are spot on, right? So pretty much just use cover. Good positioning, usage of cover. Bad positioning is absence of cover. Overall, low to medium priority for the current moment. Hopefully it stays that way though. And then finally, awareness. Pay attention to what's going on, what's happening with your team. This one's a big one. What's their team up to? What's their danger level? What's their health looking like? What's going on? That's gonna help you in your ability usage. That's gonna help you with your general mechanics. Additionally, pay attention to kind of what's up with the enemy team, where they at. That'll help you with your ultimate usage. Additionally, watch kill feed as a reminder, right? 1 to 2 is advantage, disadvantage. 2 to 3, won or lost fight. No ultimates in won or lost fights, right? So watch kill feed, be aware of that and what's going on. Keep your ears open and watch and listen for audio awareness, because there are a lot of situations where audio awareness either got our teammates killed or got us killed. And we probably could have done something very easily preventable. We hear Reinhardt charging us, we charge up our shifts and we jump up, or we move left or right and we're good, right? Overall, that one probably went to medium priority. So to put that all in order, number 1, probably say goes to your ability usage. Number 2, ultimate usage, very close though. 3 is going to be your awareness. 4 is your positioning, and then 5 is mechanics. And then that's about it. Any questions?
Nope.
Alrighty, so then I